Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon and our continued coverage of the Isle of Cats. This is the big old 2-minute box. So this is the all-in-one storage solution for the Isle of Cats. Also, though, it comes with a kind of wooden storage insert, similar to like a broken token insert, that is also meant to help you set up the game in 2 minutes or less. So we're going to test that theory. I feel like it's going to be pretty easy. But first, let me show you just how everything does fit in the box. So this is going to serve as our little review of the box, as well as our reboxing video. So here we have the lid coming off. I do like the whole like dual layer box thing, or I guess the split lid. I don't know how you want to call it, but it feels like it provides nice firm support. So anyways, we've got the rule books on top here. I mean, nothing fancy about that. Those just sit right there. And then basically you have all of your wooden holding components over here on these two edges. Now it does make a difference how you place the map tiles in, and we'll see those here in a second. So my suggestion, if you do pick up the big old box, is to simply hold on to this sheet here, and it very clearly shows you which token trays should go in where and in which order. That's obviously the instructions for putting it together, but don't get rid of that when you're all done. You'll notice that on some of these here, there are some spaces empty. For example, this here and this here and this spot here where I've got the silica gels. That is for the late arrivals expansion. It's the only expansion for Isle of Cats I don't own. So that's why you're seeing some empty spaces. So, but otherwise, everything clearly fits. Everything has a home. So let's get started. All right, obviously up here on the front is your big old bag of cats. So we're going to pick that up, set it off to the side. And then underneath are the 3 additional bags that come with the Beasts and Kittens expansion. So this is going to contain your events, this is going to contain your kittens, and the red one is going to contain your beasts. Obviously, if you don't have this expansion, you wouldn't have these bags, and this one would just sit on the bottom. Then we are going to have our score pads, as well as our kind of island board. And then the only thing that I feel like got left out are these kind of resource cards. These also can be served as randomization cards for the boats. And these are kind of oversized because they didn't want to make them too small. They're more rectangular, larger size in the shape, but they don't fit into the the card box. They don't fit into one of these random wells. So there's really no spot for these, and they just kind of sit on top of the boards, which is fine. I would recommend saving this little baggie kind of plastic cellophane that they came in to protect them. This is the only thing I feel like got left out. Otherwise, everything does have a spot. All right, so let's get started here with, let's start over here. So first thing is this very simple tray here, which you can pull out. But this simply is a spot to put your pencil, a spot to put your first player token, and, or I can't remember what this token is for. Maybe that's the first player, but it's only supposed to be that one, and then the boat token, which is kind of the turn order round token. So that one sits on top. Then we've got these 2 boxes here, which are pretty nondescript, but they are going to hold your discovery deck. So this is going to be the deck of cards that you're mainly going to play with every single game. This big deck is going to be shuffled up, and it's going to sit in this box while you play, and you can just draw out of here from the top. If you have sleeved cards, there's a very good chance, especially if you have all of the expansions, you're going to need a second box. And so you simply just have 2 boxes for all your sleeved cards. I do not have my cards sleeved, so everything easily fits in here. You see there's even room for, say, the late arrivals expansion. So what I have done is, for now, I have simply used this to hold my fish cardboard tokens and my small beast meeples there, which I don't have the heart to throw away, that kind of stuff, even though that's what the instructions tell you. So for now, I just have those hanging out in there because I don't want to get rid of them. I could, however, use this as an empty one, and this becomes the discard pile. So as you're using discovery cards, and you're going to be discarding a lot of them throughout the game, you could easily just chuck them into this box. So that's those two boxes there. Pretty straightforward. Now let's look at the other card box. So this is going to keep the rest of your cards organized. I didn't really test it out, but I'm wondering if it looks like it isn't quite going to fit. So my discovery deck, which now includes Kickstarter promo cards as well as Beasts and Kittens expansion, does not quite fit in this slot. But let's take a look at this from the side here. So you've got these various slots that are already labeled. You've got these really fun cat dividers in there. And so what you have here, the A through I, are all of the lesson modules that you are going to have and are going to be shuffled into the discovery deck, but not all of them at the same time. So the instructions say to shuffle in 3 at a time, and the base game comes with just A, B, and C, but as you pick up expansions, you have the D, E, F, G, and H, I guess, come with the 5 and 6 player expansion, because I don't have them, and then I. So at the beginning of setup, you're going to need to pull out 3 of these, shuffle them in, but then you're going to need to sort them back out. Unless you just plan on always playing with the same 3 modules. You could do that too. Then the single, the 1 here, is for all of your solo cards. So unfortunately these don't get an individual slot, but the solo basket, the solo lessons, the solo color cards, all the purple back cards go in there. The 8+, which is a little confusing, is for the family cards, because the family mode is for 8+. So you can see these have the green back on them. I guess we could flip them over, have them facing the same way. This tiny little slot here is where I have placed the player reference cards. So you may or may not need them depending on who you're playing with. And then in the middle here, the portion that I don't have filled is for the 5 to 6 player cards if you have the late arrivals expansion, which the biggest thing for late arrivals is it adds a 5th and 6th player to the game. And there are 5 to 6 player specific cards that you wouldn't want to play with if you were, say, playing a 2-player game. They're going to go in this section there. So that's all the cards. That's easily the one storage unit here that is not self-explained by a picture underneath. But let's just continue to look at these here. So there's this box, which slides in there just perfectly. This is going to hold your Beast Meeples, and the lid's a little tight. I might, and I would probably suggest you doing this as well, shave down these corners just a tad, because this is just balsa wood. It can break, but these are going to be the Beast Meeples that come with the game. If you have the Kickstarter exclusive expansion, you're going to have the upgraded, larger screen printed size, or you're just going to have this size. But that's where those go. All right, and then the lid fits on back nice and tightly. We'll set that off to the side. This tray is going to contain all your regular cat tokens. Now, I, for the most part, just have the standard size ones. I personally prefer these. I feel like the other ones, I've never played with them like that, but I feel like if you only use these, they would really like crowd up the board, make your board look kind of messy. I am perfectly fine with these on the board and these as player markers, but this tray can hold, say, a full slate of these. So, whatever it is, 6 or 8 or something like that. So you kind of have to stand them up like this and line them across, but you can see all of them would fit like that. But so there are your cat tokens. This one here contains your fish tokens, and originally I thought that there was not a space for this, but I have learned there is a space for that, so I'm going to set that off the side. But here you can see there's a spot for your 5 fish, and then your single fish, and then your basket tokens. This is one of the more decorative boxes. It's got this neat little cat face here, which just makes it easier to reach in here and get the tokens out. All of this stuff can just be pulled out. You'll see this when I do the example, and just laid on the table. All right, So here we have our events tray. So if you are not playing with the events module, that can stay in the bottom of the box. And I think it was purposely placed as one of the bottom trays as opposed to the other ones. So these are your victory point scoring things for if you play the events and you score like mid-game. And then the baskets that you may gain, or boots on the other side, that you may gain as part of an event, or the Royal Rat tokens that you may have to place onto your board, again, as part of an event. The only time you will need this is if you are playing with the events module, which is part of the Beasts and Kittens expansion. And then last but not least, we have our Oshaks and treasure tokens. Now, even in his example, it states that you should pull these out and place as many out onto the board as possible. My personal opinion with that is if you're playing, say, a solo game, you're going to know that there should just be, I believe it's 2 or 3 of these out and no more. And just know that you can draw 2 because, especially when you're playing solo, you're the only one drawing from the pile. You can look on your board and see, oh, I've got 3 of those already. I can't get any more. You will need to pull the Oshaks out. But let's just take a look at this one. This is from one of the expansions, I believe, so you may not have this Oshaks one, but it's very long. And at first I was like, look, it doesn't fit in there. Oh, it's so close, but it doesn't quite fit. Well, there is a little notch right here in the board, or in the tray, specifically designed to have this larger Oshaks overlap. And I didn't see that at first, but I saw it mentioned on the forums. I asked the question, and yeah, Frank himself answered it, as well as another guy beat him to it. But that is what that notch is for. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Then it is simply just all of the boats stacked in here. Now, it does make a difference that, you know, the boats are going this way because this is somewhat of a rectangle. This is not a perfect square. So I have the boats going this way, and then the you can see that these two boxes are slightly different widths. It's very hard to see. It's not very noticeable, but the skinnier box is going to go where the lengthwise of the boats are going to go, and the thicker box is going to go right there. So it's also important that, hey, the cat token tray is thicker than the fish token tray. So these are going to go one on top of each other. This box then has to be slid in here just right. See, it doesn't fit that way at all. And you know, it's tight, but you also don't want stuff flying around, so it's okay. This is the only one that I feel like doesn't really sit very well. You can see that the shape of the box, it's like open here, which makes it nice to like get your finger underneath and pop the cards out. But this one is just meant to sit right there, and it just feels a little off. You know, it feels like it could just easily tip over. Now you're gonna have your bags right here, so it doesn't matter. But that card tray does need to go over the skinnier ones, so that these card trays can go like this. And you definitely want to put the openings towards the outside edge of the box. That's going to keep the cards in tight. And then we can simply come back here. Well, let's put all this other stuff in. This one, see, doesn't fit like that, but it will fit like that. And then pretty much everything else just slides in here like that. Slides into this gap. There we go. Put some of you guys in. This is not as, you don't have to be as perfect with this setup. You do kind of need to flatten out your bag a little bit so it takes up this full square. Don't just curl it off. Let everything shuffle to the bottom, because it might be a lump and you might crush some stuff. And then last but not least, we're just going to put our rule books on top. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the big old box in all of its glory. So let's now, I'm going to set this off to the side to rearrange the camera a little bit so you guys can see truly how quickly I can set up a solo game of Isle of Cats. Okay, so just some quick caveats before I officially start the timer here. I am going to be setting up a solo game. I am going to go ahead and set up for a game with the Kittens expansion, with the Events expansion, and the Beasts module. So all of those are going to be included in this setup, just to give you a full idea of if we can get everything in under 2 minutes. What I am not going to be doing is shuffling the cards. I probably normally, when I get them out, would go around and shuffle them. Some people would shuffle them as they put them away, but I'm not really going to include that in the whole 2 minutes. Basically, I'm just going to get to set up, and it's on the table, ready to go. So without further ado, I have my lid off, but other than that, everything else is in the box off to the side here. Let's see how quickly I can get everything going. On your mark, get set, go. So I'm pulling out basically just the bags right now, and getting that stuff all out of the way. And I'm also, not going to bother with the, picking a board or anything like that. So let's just see. See, it kind of makes it so you have to pull that out. All right, so here's like my discovery card deck. I'm just assuming that that is kind of set up and ready to go. All right. I'm just going to pick a random boat here to set up just for the sake of time. There we go. I apologize if I don't get this all perfectly into the shot, but we'll make it work. And we'll put these over here along with our fish. We'll go ahead and give ourselves a basket and 20 fish. All right, there we go. Don't need the scoring pads right now. You don't need the boat randomizer card. Here is the, whoops, that's upside down. All right, so that's going to be our thing for that. All right. This is going to be for our beasts. We are playing with the events expansion, so I'm just going to throw this way up here so it's out of the way. And then we have our treasure tiles, so lots of Oshaks here. Now remember, in the solo mode, you do need to put them out in linear order. I've got all the expansions. I'm not going to get all of my Oshaks out at the moment, but we will go ahead and even throw out our treasure tiles, which should be 5 each. All right, and this technically could go back in the box at this point. All right, so we need some events tiles here. We need to find one with a little crystal. All right, so that's going to be our first one. And the rest of these are going to go out like this. And then we're going to need another crystal one. So there that goes. And the crystal side, there we go. So that's the event module. The rest of those can go back in the box. Here is the kittens. Go ahead and place out 4 kittens. I drew way more than I should have. I cheated, but I am in a little bit trying to beat the time here. All right, beasts only come out at the first round. In a solo game, you're just going to do 4. You are going to want to put them in order, same as the other guy. 2, 3, 4. Then the beast can go back in the box. And then we're going to go ahead and need 4 additional cats. Put in order. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so there's that. Obviously, the cat bag needs to be kept handy. And then the last thing we're really going to need to do is separate all of these cards. Again, I'm not going to shuffle these like I normally would, but I'm assuming this is part of setup, so here we go. Whoop. Okay, so here is Solo Basket. Here is Solo Color. Flip over the first one, and we'll leave the advanced lessons in the box. So there those go. Here is this, and we would do 1, 2, 3. I know I'm getting off camera, but it's all set up. We can put our boat token above the first one there, and we each need, let's see, I'll be green. We'll make the AI orange, and so we're going to do that. At this point, I would go ahead and draw cards and start the game. So let's stop it. That took me, 4 minutes and 54 seconds. Now, I did set up for all of the expansions. Normally I could have left that in the box. I would not have set up kittens. I would not have set up events. So all of that did take a little bit of extra. I could have left the beasts in the box. And even setting up for a standard game, you're also not having to set up the solo cards either. You would get to this point and everybody would draw a certain number of cards. So I do believe that you could do this in 2 minutes. Frank West has proven that it can be done in under a minute, really, setting up just a basic game and getting it to that point. So I truly believe that this is a perfectly fine storage solution. I do feel like having all this stuff out here, though, does kind of turn the game into a little bit more of a table hog. It wasn't too bad of a table hog. It's certainly not a tiny footprint game. But, I guess if I could slide this over here, now I've starting to get room for my sister cards and things like that. And solo, this can just go wherever. So, yeah. Obviously, you also won't be racing to set things up, but you understand that you could easily set up a game and be playing in between 5 and 10 minutes. No problems with this storage solution. So I think it does exactly what is asked of it in this case. And again, I could have not spent the time of counting out 5 treasures each. That would have saved me some time a little bit and just counted, do I have 5 of one treasure? I have never gotten to the point where I have gotten to the bottom of a treasure pile playing a solo game. So we'll just throw that out there. That would have saved me some time as well. But that's going to do it for this game. Just quickly about, I meant to go over this while I was digging through the box. Construction was fine. If you have ever put together a insert that is made of this soft balsa wood, you will understand what it takes. A little wood glue and just, kind of a firm press, but, not so much that's going to break. The only thing that really was not super straightforward to put together was this thing, and it's straightforward to put together, but lining up all of these holes right here, all of the notches that come through the holes, was just really tricky. Took me a lot of time to get both sides of that one in. I was very worried about breaking it, but I got it done. It's in there, it's glued, it's never coming apart, so we're all set. I really like that they included this in the big box. You could have easily just said, here's a big box for $20 and figure out your own storage solution, or I'm sure Broken Token or somebody like that would have produced one. I don't know whether like Folded Space or Broken Token will plan on, or eRaptor will make one, since the big box comes with one. But I really like that it just came with one and it wasn't an overly priced one. Sometimes I don't ever purchase, but I see inserts that are more expensive than I would have paid for the game, or did pay for a game. It's a reason why I go out and do so much DIY storing myself, because I can't stand that market personally. Spending just as much, if not more, on an insert for a game, just unfathomable to me. But that's just my opinion. I really appreciated that this one was included in the box. So that's probably the biggest selling point. More so than you can set up a game in under 5 minutes. It's the fact that it came with the box. So highly recommend this if you are a fan of the Isle of Cats game. The big old box is really not that much bigger than the original box, so if you're worried about space, it's way better than having all these smaller other boxes sitting around. I'm not sure at what point how much of all of the expansions you could fit in the original box. I'm not going to worry about it now. but this is a great pickup if you're an Isle of Cats fan. So I highly recommend it. 2 thumbs up. So if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.